May Coombs members of council, I'm Jim Golden, Director of Finance. A couple of weeks ago, we were here and we made the first of our update presentations on that priority-based budgeting. We're intent to make a somewhat similar presentation here. I want to try to shorten it up where I can, but at the same time, I do want to provide enough background so that if any of the public's viewing this for the first time, they're going to at least be able to follow the concepts through and understand this and take it in context. So bear with me if I'm redundant on some of the concepts that we've reviewed with you. And also, again, as I said in the first presentation, if you want to give us any sort of direction on how to do these in the future, because we do have another 10 more to go through, then I'm all ears for that later here. So we first started doing this in 2010, implementing the budgeting, priority-based budgeting concepts. Last year, we made a comprehensive effort to fully implement it. We secured the RAD tool, which is a resource alignment diagnostic tool from the consultants for priority-based budgeting. And then council got some summary information last summer. And where we left it there was that we would bring back more detailed information for you all so that you could take a closer look at the programs and how their scoring is impacted. And that's what we are undertaking currently. So in priority-based budgeting, we do break down all that the city does into individual programs, and we evaluate each of those programs against the desired results that have been identified by the city council and against key program attributes. And each of them is given a score from between 0 and 4 for how each of those programs influences the results or attributes. These are the desired results that the city council identified for community programs. And this is the weightings that the community assigned to those that we landed on through a community involvement process last spring. These are the desired results for the governance programs. Those would be the programs that are not going directly to the public but are serving the organization. And there are 5 desired results. They're all equally weighted. And these, again, were identified by the city council. These are the first 2 here. And the final 3 desired results for governance programs. And then there were 4 attributes that are part of the process that were designed by the priority-based budgeting consultants. Each of those are equally weighted in the scoring process. A mandate to provide the program is the attribute that we reviewed 2 weeks ago. Then we have reliance on the city to provide the program, cost recovery of the program, and the portion of the community served by the program. So we'll be going through 2 more of those tonight. Again, citywide, we had 1,244 programs identified. 527 of those were within the city's general fund. And then the consultants identified 737 distinct programs within the city. So the difference between the 737 and 1244 is some redundancy in programs that we find from different funding sources. So what we do is evaluate all the programs against the 4 attributes and the desired results, 4 or 5 desired results, to come up with an overall score. And that score places a program in the quartiles from quartile 1 through quartile 4. Quartile 1 is the scores that are coming the highest. They have the highest influence over the desired results and the attributes. And then likewise, the programs in quartile 4, they score the lowest and have the least influence. So these results can serve as a guide for us as we go through future budgets or in the allocation of future resources. So when we have new resources available, we should strive to put those towards programs in quartile 1 or 2, or put less new resources towards programs maybe in quartile 3 and 4. And we should give careful consideration about adding any new programs that would only score maybe in the 4th or 3rd quartiles. And whenever a new program is proposed, we do evaluate and score those programs, and we'll do that going forward. And you did hear about the curbside program tonight. That actually comes in as a quartile 2 program scoring. So again, we'll be preparing 13 different reports, and I ask you try not to jump to early conclusions when you just see 1 or 2, 3 reports. Try to get all the information before you get, get an idea of reacting to them. See how these programs influence each of these results and attributes. So the first one tonight is the portion of community served. That is defined by the consultants for priority-based budgeting as follows. So they have a scoring of from 4 to 0, the 4 being high. A portion of community served based on the program benefits or serves the entire community, so it has to serve 100% of the community. That rate's a 4. If it serves at least 75% of the community, a substantial portion, that's a 3. At least 50% of the community is a significant one. That's a 2. And then we have programs that serve some portion of the community. So that would be at least 10%. Anywhere between 10 and 50% that would fall. And finally, 0 score for anything that's less than 10%, a small portion of the community. Again, this is within your packet. It's on page 137 of your packet tonight. This is our summary of the overall scoring by departments. It's page 137 or else page 4 of the prioritization update on the portion of community served. So if you look at your package, you can see this information a lot better. But what you can see with the highlights is where we have the highest amount of dollars going in each of the 5 different categories. By department. So the ones in greens are dollars, and the ones in yellow or orange are the most amount of programs falling in those categories. So just summarizing those, the number of programs. First, public safety has the most programs benefiting or serving the entire community. That's 94 programs. Public Works Natural Resources has the most programs benefiting or serving a substantial portion of the community, 104 programs. Public Works Natural Resources is the most programs benefiting a significant portion of the community at 147. And again, now you can tell Public Works, of course, has the most programs, and so they're coming up most often in this one for having the most programs in each of the areas. In the sum portion, there's 135 programs, and in the small portion, they have 82. And the cost of programs is a little bit different. Power Communications, of course, has the highest cost program, and so the one that serves the entire community, they have almost $58 million towards that category. Public Works Natural Resources has the most dollars for the substantial portion of the community at $10.2 million. Public Works and Natural Resources has the most programs cost for a significant portion of the community at $9.9 million. And then Community Service has the highest cost of programs serving some portion of the community, $7.7 million. And also Community Service has the highest cost of program benefiting a small portion of the community at $3.6 million, $3.36 million. So, okay. No, well, you can in a second. I'm just looking. Yeah, go ahead and start pulling the model up. So I was missing a slide, and that's why I was just checking, but you can go ahead and pull that while I'm talking about it. So we've got 527 programs in the city's general fund, and that accounts for $65.4 million budget. So the highlights of the general fund programs, you can find those also on the same page, page 4 at the bottom. Again, page 137 of the packet tonight. I'm going to take you through each one of those, but through using the RAD tool dashboard. And those dashboard views are also within the pages of your council packet. The first 5 dashboard views are there that show all city programs, all 1,244 city programs. I'm going to skip those and go to the second 5 past those, which are the ones on page 143 through 147. We'll just be looking at the general fund programs. So, let me pull it up myself here. I can't see that any better than they can. So beginning on page 143, you can see that what you've got there is the dashboard view from the RAD tool for the general fund for the entire community served. And you can see in the lower right corners here that you've got 142 programs shown there that are benefiting, serving the entire community at a budget of $31.8 million. But you can see on the RAD tool, it's breaking it out by quartiles. So where each of these individual programs score overall, not just, not for portion of the community served, but its overall program score. So you can see that most of the dollars are showing up in the quartile 1, $18.8 million for 79 programs that fall under serving the entire community. So overall, the 142 programs are at $31.8 million. That's 48%, 48.7% of the general fund budget. I'm going to ask Teresa to pull the next one up. We're going to the program.
Councilmember Moore?
Yeah.
Hey, Jim, what you're showing us doesn't match what's in our packet. Is there a reason for that?
So it's on page 143.
Page, it would be 145,
You got 145?
page
Oh, I
145.
saw that one for 43.
All right, I don't know why I have different page numbers than you do, but you should be looking at the one that has on the top, general fund and entire community served. Is that on 145? Okay, so then I will try to adjust my references then. All right, so then the next page, just turn the page to 146, is general fund and substantial portion of the community served. Are we good?
Yeah. If you just go to the page number to the far left, it's 143. If you're just looking at your electronic page number, it's 145. So just go by the page number on the far left corner. The printed page number is 143. That's the difference.
All right.
So you're matching up to,
So the next view is of the substantial portion of the community served for the general fund. This one is 61 programs at $10.8 million, and it's 16.5% of the general fund budget. Again, we're showing those by quartile. You can see most of those are in the first two quartiles. Good deal in the third as well, but very little in the fourth quartile. Next view is going to be of the significant portion of the community served. Next page. Okay, and this one, again, this has got 106 programs that benefit a significant portion of the community. They're budgeted at $9.77 million. That's almost 15% of the general fund budget. So the next is some portion of the community served. So this is anywhere between 10 to 49% of the community being served. And we got 151 programs in there, budgeted at $11.1 million. And that's 17% of the general fund budget. And the highest number here is in the second quartile. But and going into the last category is programs benefiting, serving only a small portion of the community, which would be less than 10%. There's 67 programs in the general fund there, budgeted at $1.7 million, so 2.6% of the general fund budget. So going back to page 4 of this update, which I'm not even going to try to, I thought it was on page 137, but underneath the summary that was in that update. So final statement on that page, for some reason I struggled with the range of the attribute levels for this one. So I need to correct that final statement that I included on that page. So the correct statement is that there are 67 general fund programs, 12.7%, and 1.7 million of the general fund budget that are programs that benefit or serve less than 10% of the community. So the numbers I included in that final statement are that there are 218 general fund programs, but it's 41.3%, 12.8 million of the general fund budget, 19.6%. That represents programs that benefit or serve less than 50% of the community. So I made an incorrect statement in there that it serves 10% or less. We're going to make the correction to this before we put that back out on the final posting on the internet pages that we'll be putting together for the prioritization updates. Sorry about that, but as confusing to some of our peer review groups as it was to me. So after the snapshot pages, what we've included in there are two lists. One, we have included them all with the individual program level and the detail. The first list is of all, well, the list of all 1,244 programs and how they score against the mandate, against the portion of community served attribute. But what we do is we have one list for general fund programs and one list for all other funds. We include the detail there by department and division, program cost, the funding source, the number of program FTE. So you are able to follow it by the sorted by the attribute, should be mandate, but it's the attribute, department and the division, and then the quartile. And when we get into quartile, it's actually listed from the lowest quartile to the highest quartile, which is something we'll probably also change in our future updates.